Today we're going to be covering the top 30 non-sports card sales from the month of August, and as a bonus I'm going to throw in a few honorable mentions here at the very end. This covers classic sets like Mars Attacks. We have some music cards in here, historical figures, Star Wars, and Marvel. Up first, we have a 1985 Madonna. This is actually one of her first earliest cards. I believe she does have an 84 out of Australia, though, which is a tough regional release. Now, this is a PSA 9. Now, the buy it now price was exactly $699. You guys can take a look at this. These 85s do tend to be in a little bit larger slabs like this. Not the toughest to find in high grade in comparison to other music ears, but still a really high sale. Okay, we have another sale for $700. This says it's a 1970, but actually it's mislabeled. It's 1972. One thing to know about for music cards is the grading companies do a horrible job at labeling the correct years. This 1970 Led Zeppelin has a completely different design with the Tonabelle cards. This is actually a 72, but this also sold for about $700. We have this Anne Oakley photo cabinet card. There's actually two of these that sold back in August for both $750 to my knowledge, if I remember correctly. But you can take a look at this art over here. Now, if you're not too familiar with Anne Oakley, she's a popular character that went around with Colonel Cody. She was a sharpshooter. In fact, you can find her in a few different sets like Alan Ginter and also Goodwin Champs. Just to turn this back over here, we do have a full plain back, but just a unique piece that you don't really see that. Another $750 sale, we have a 1979 Rocky 2. To my knowledge, there's no official Rocky cards for the first movie, so for fans of the franchise, this is the first opportunity. And it's a very early also Stallone card. He does have some stuff earlier in the 1970s, which is a bit tougher, but this is plentiful available. Not in the 9 grade per se, but in general. And you guys can see it is a little bit off center over here, unless it's just illusion of the case. But it does look a little bit on that side of things. But it is a very sharp card. These borders tend to be unforgiving with this card as well, just if you've seen them out in the raw, they can get damaged pretty easily. We have our first auction card. So we have 1962 Mars Attacks, The Invasion Begins. This is a card number 1, which sometimes you do get to see that premium for card number 1 in sets. This sold for $765 with 80 cents for number 1 over here, which looks pretty sharp. I mean, you do see some whitening over here, but it is a pretty cool card. A little bit outside my realm of what I collect for non-sports, though. I actually know that buyer of this Albert Einstein card. It sold for about $775. Obviously, this was overseas in Australia. No idea what this grading company is, but he actually asked me if it was real, and I did try to buy this card, but he was going to buy it outright, so I let him do that. On that side of things, I still need to grab one of these out there, but I thought this one looked pretty sharp. Now, if it does, like, if you cross this over, it's not getting an 8.5 by the looks of it, but this could easily be a 6 or a 7 based off the appearance, and again, I don't have it in person, so I have no idea for sure, but I would assume that this is a type of card that you just crack out and you send it, whether you send it to SGC, PSA, CGC, and get it in a brand new slab. We have a very high graded Superman card from 1940. You don't see 6s that often, so maybe this is like the highest, one of the highest graded for this example of a card. Again, something that's going to go in someone's registry. That way they can brag that they have the highest graded cards in their set. But $790 on this Superman with the enemy over here. And yeah, pretty high sale. We have an $800 sale for this 1990 Impel Marvel Universe Silver Surfer versus Thanos. I think that was one of the characters in the recent Marvel films. Could be wrong. Again, outside my realm a little bit, but famous battles. We have a 1966 A and B C gum Superman. You can see over here, it sold for about $850. This is a PSA 9. A and BC gum is out of Europe. Specifically, I saw a lot of ABC gum cards when I went over to the UK card show. So I definitely have to learn a little bit more about Marvel and also Disney stuff before I go over here this year and learn more about like ABC gum and stuff like that. And I'll allude to a little bit more in other videos as I research. But still, I think this is a pretty high sale, but again, outside my wheelhouse. Lost in Space, this card sold for slightly less than $900 over here. The Pilot Dreams. This is a card number 4 in the set. So again, I just assume a registry. This is over here Pop 2. So someone that wants to boost their position within this specific set. Bruce Wayne, Batman 1966. This card number 1 in PSA 9, sold for $890. This card right here, well, I actually bought it, so you guys can check this out on this side of things. I spent $932. Now, did I overpay? Probably, based off the last 4 comp. But in general, I wanted to have this card because I am collecting some of the better persons within the Great American set. And I'm trying to get at least 3 to 4 grade. There's some that I'll make exceptions for that are like authentic because I'm in size but present well. And I'll upgrade those in the future. But I thought this Lincoln looked pretty nice. And it does look like it has like a small surface wrinkle on it. But the color in person also looks great. You guys can check out the back over here instead of the screen. We have another Mars Attack. This one sold for $937. A PSA 8 for card number 47. My bet is for the registry. $1,025 with 2 bids on this 1992 Wolverine versus Sabretooth. No idea about this Marvel side of things, if this is a rare card or a super common one. I would assume it's a common card, but it does have a 3D over here, so let me know in the comment section. A very popular presidential card over here. We have a 1989 Rotten to the Core Donald Trump. $1,050 for the PSA 10. So this sale here actually surprised me quite a bit. This card was issued after his death, and Humphrey Bogart cards aren't actually expensive, but this one sold straight up for $1,200. So I don't know if someone has like a Panini OK VIP like registry or grossly overpaid thinking this was like a first card by any means. I don't know. You guys can see the art on it, which I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of this release in general. I do have a few cards within this, but very, very high sale at $1,200. Mars Attack number 21 prize captive in a PSA 7. This sold for $1,150. I believe this is our 3rd Mars Attack on the list this week, and I'm not going to continue to work on. Another high sale from Mars Attack. This is a PSA 7 of prize captive. We're taking a look at $1,150. Super risky card to buy roll, right? But this Batman 1966 sold for $1,176 on this side of things. And corner looks slightly fuzzy in the photo, but I can't take a look at it too close. Now, I'm just curious in general where 1966 Topps Batman like recent PSA sales are. So this one's $1,176. Let's just load up another tab at eBay and take a look. And we'll go by highest sales price. Let's see if there's any recent sales in general. So a 6 sold for $770. Another 6 sold for $650. So whoever bought this would probably have to buy a 7 at least to break even. I don't know the 7 prices on top of head, but I don't know if this gets a 7 or not. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out in the upcoming months when this is graded and if it's posted on eBay. If not, we will never find out. Another Lost in Space. This was part of a set break. $1,335. This is card number 1, and there is 4 in a PSA 9. We have a 1940 Superman Candy and Surprise. This one sold for the buy it now price of $1,500. We have a 1952 Look and See Rembrandt. This one sold for $1,489. Now this is a harder card to find within the set and his most expensive card, although he has a lot of cards in the early 1900s that I could see that changing one day. They are a little bit rarer than this 1952 Look and See. We have our first Star Wars here on the list, straight out of Wonder Bread, $1,550 for this PSA 10 of the Millennium Falcon. We have this really cool art card of Bart Simpson, sold straight up for $2,200. It says PSA 19, maybe there's 19 out there, or they just mislabeled this PSA 9. Either way, this card sold. We have the classic Nasty Nick on the side of things. Card number 1A, sold for a buy it now price of $3,995. Like this Walt Disney card will always be on this list, no matter where it sells, just based off of the price point on it. But this PSA 8 sold for $4,483. Not a rare card by any means, but they are starting to dry up a little bit. I don't see them raw that all. So there's a little bit of price discrepancy on this example over here. There's one that sold for $4,900, another one that sold for $3,800. I'm just going to slot it right over here. But Luke Skywalker card number 1 in a PSA 9. $5,000 straight up for the Silver Surfer PSA 10, a hologram from Marvel Universe. Please let me know about this card, why it sold for $5,000. I don't know if it's like a short print or these holograms are very tough to find in a high grade. Another 1977 Wonder Bread Darth Vader. This one sold for $5,400. Our third Superman card on the list today, we have a PSA 2. This is card number 1, which is the iconic card within the set. $5,655 is the final hammer price on this auction. And lastly, we have Han Solo PSA 10, again from the 1977 Star Wars. Just normal set over here, $6,100. Now let's take a look at some honorable mentions. Up first, we have a triple lot of Abraham Lincoln cards from 1932 US Caramel. Now this sold for $3,400. So technically, if you take this lot divided by 3, this should have been on the list for price per card, but that's why it's on the honorable mentions. Now, it has all 3 colors on here. Again, red, orange, and also blue, which can be tough to find. But this was a very high comp, especially talking to a few different people that are building the set. I know one person that's literally 1 card away from the blue, another one that has the McKinley, and a dealer that deals with a lot of them. We all talked about this before and did not expect a $3,400 final sale for the trio of Lincoln cards, but Lincoln's been extremely popular as of recently. We have a Michael Jackson sale. This was crossed out. It ended up selling for $225, which I think is a pretty fair price for an 8. I think I have a 7 or an 8 within my collection, but I'd have to double check. And this is just your standard Cantanti pack. You can also find, I think it's called a Bisvaldi or Bisvalita. I'm not too sure the correct pronunciation, but that does have a premium. I put this card here on honorable mentions to warn you guys. This sold for $525. Someone probably bought this card thinking this is an Elvis rookie. Only problem is Elvis didn't even record a song in 1950. In fact, like Elvis in this card looks way older than where he would have been in 1950. Here is Elvis Presley's Wikipedia article. He was born in 1935, which would have meant he would have been 15 in this picture. Doesn't look 15, but okay, let's continue to go over here, right? And you scroll down, we talk about over here, 1956, 58 commercial breakthrough, right? And then over here, 1954 performed on this over here, right? 1953 through 56, first recordings. So how does he have a card before he even started recording music? Always do your research on non-sports cards because no one else will do that research for you. And I hate to say scam, but like someone got burned pretty bad on this card from not doing research. Put this one in here because I do see these Wizard of Oz solo cards sell for quite a lot. And this is the full deck of cards, which I thought was kind of cool. And this one sold for about $800, but just to go through some of the pictures over here, what this actually looks like straight out of the box. And the colors are very vibrant if you've ever seen any of these in person. Uncut sheets, we see them often with baseball cards, especially during the junk wax era. But for 1977 Star Wars, haven't really seen one before. I'm sure they're out there, but I haven't really been looking. $3,800 this instance, and you guys can see what this fully looks like. And I'm sure this will hang as like a poster within a wall of a big Star Wars nerd. But you can see some of the more iconic cards we talk about on this list every single week, right? Or every single month, right over here. And Solo, which just sold as well. This one sold for $4,200. Multiple years of a Garbage Pails complete set. Now, looking at the condition, maybe not the best. You can see a little bit corner over here. But maybe if it's broken up, someone can make a little bit of money off of this. Also, it looks like maybe there's an original pack here. Can't tell if it's full or not. Maybe they talk about it in the description over here. Look at each one of these eBay listing sets. So I guess all of them were listed on eBay, and you can do a little bit more research and see these in general. But still, $4,200 for a few years of sets. There's a few lots of high-grade 1962 Mars Attacks. This one sold over here $5,500. This one $4,300. You can see the card numbers specifically in both of those. Again, a lot of those cards are flooding the market as of recently. Hey, hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as these do take a ton of effort to make, especially compiling these lists and figuring out what the top 30 were each week. Now, it is possible I did miss a few cards, so if I did miss any, leave any comments down below in the description or feel free to email me. And if you want to see the top sales from July, make sure to watch that video right over there.